Hey little friend, today we continue our journey to the galaxy, this time into a place where no planet dares to orbit, no star claims dominion, and yet something drifts there. You float in your tiny ship, engines purring like a lazy cat, surrounded by nothing but the deep breath of the universe. The window shows an ocean of darkness so absolute that even your own reflection seems shy to appear. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And don't forget to tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and what time it is out there in your corner of the cosmos. The story begins when your sensors whisper of movement, tiny ripples in the void, like currents in an invisible sea. That shouldn't be possible. There's no air, no water, no gravity strong enough to pull anything together. Yet your ship shivers. The radar blinks. You lean closer, your breath fogging the glass. Then you see them faint sparks in the dark, pulsing in rhythm like fireflies lost in a dream. You follow, because of course you do. Who could resist glowing bugs in space? As you draw near, the sparks multiply into hundreds, then thousands, outlining something vast, an enormous structure floating with impossible grace. The floating harbor. It's not made of metal nor stone. It looks like woven mist, anchored to nothing. Its shape shifting like a jellyfish suspended in a cosmic aquarium. You notice fragments of ship's old sails, half-destroyed satellites, even an Earth bicycle spinning lazily near its edge. They're caught in invisible threads, as though gravity here obeys its own eccentric mood. A voice buzzes in your headset, but it's distorted, almost melodic. Drifter, approach the outer lights. The harbor awaits. You glance around. No ships nearby. Just the void, humming softly, as if listening. You ease the thrusters forward. The moment you cross a thin halo of light, the temperature drops. The void isn't empty anymore, it feels like thick liquid, brushing against your hull. You're swimming now, not flying. A curious sensation, like being swallowed by the night. A shape glides past your cockpit, something luminous, long, and elegant. It moves like a ribbon with eyes, and for a heartbeat, it peers into you. Not at you, into you. The eyes flash, reflecting memories you didn't know you'd lost. A paper boat, a rainy street, a hand waving goodbye. Then it darts away, trailing phosphorescent dust. You murmur, half laughing to calm yourself. Okay. Note to self, void jellyfish equals maybe friendly. The ship answers with a low chime, as if amused. Far ahead, the flickering lights gather into towering columns that mark the entrance. And there, nestled among them, you see the harbor's pulse, a distant orb of color shifting like breath. It's both haunting and beautiful, like a dream you're afraid to wake from. You reach for the controls again, and as the ship edges closer, the stars behind you vanish one by one, as though something is closing the curtains of reality. You've entered the dark current. There's no going back. You grip the controls tighter as your ship glides deeper into the dark current, guided by the faint shimmer of those ghostly ribbons. The lights ahead gather into patterns, loops, spirals, constellations that rearrange themselves like they're trying to communicate. And then, out of the murk, shapes appear, creatures drifting alongside you, translucent and glowing. They move with gentle pulses of light, their tendrils weaving elegant trails through the emptiness. At first, you think they're just cosmic jellyfish. But then, one tilts toward you, and you spot something unmistakably deliberate, a harness of crystal strands, wrapped around its mantle, and perched atop it, a pilot made of light. Its body flickers between shapes, humanoid, winged, liquid, vapor. Every time it shifts, the light's color changes from indigo to honeygold to deep green. You realize these are the lanternfish pilots, the rumored navigators of the void. One of them floats near your cockpit, raising a luminous hand. Your ship's comm crackles to life. Newcomer, your vessel breathes too loud. Quiet it, or the current will hear. You can't help but grin. Right, because the void has ears now? The pilot tilts its head, amused or maybe mildly offended. The void hears everything that forgets to whisper. You comply, powering down the engines. Immediately, the turbulence eases. The ship drifts as softly as a dandelion seed. The lanternfish glide closer, their glowing tendrils brushing your hull like welcoming fingers. You can't decide whether it's reassuring or incredibly creepy. Let's call it mystically unsettling, shall we? They escort you through towering spires made of fractured light structures that look like someone froze a lightning storm mid-explosion. Between them, smaller creatures flit about, fish with mirrors for scales, manta rays made of folded glass, and tiny birds of pure flame that vanish whenever you blink. One of the pilots signals for you to follow deeper, toward a cluster of suspended globes. Inside each globe, you glimpse pieces of city streets, bridges, towers all drifting upside down. They glow faintly, like memories bottled before fading completely. Your ship's sensors scream warnings, gravity anomaly source unknown, but your curiosity wins. Let's be honest, it always does. A column of golden vapor coils ahead, parting to reveal an entrance. It's enormous, rimmed by floating symbols you can't read, yet somehow understand. Welcome. Stranger, don't wake what sleeps. The lanternfish pilots stop. One of them speaks again, voice trembling like struck glass. From here, the dockmaster guides. Do not ask what happened to the last visitor who tried to guide himself. You try to laugh it off. Oh, sure, definitely won't do that. But then something unsettling happens. The pilot reaches out with one glowing tendril and touches your ship's window. The glass ripples like water, and for an instant, your reflection is replaced by another faceholder. Sadder, but definitely yours. You blink, and it's gone. Before you can say anything, the lanternfish scatter. Their light trails twist into a spiral, forming a glowing path that leads straight to the heart of the harbor. Alone now, you feel the current tug your ship forward as though unseen hands are eager to meet you. The stars outside flicker once more, dimming completely this time. You're surrounded by moving shadows that breathe. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the faint toll of a bell made from shattered glass. You're about to meet whoever or whatever runs this place. The bell's echo fades into a hum that vibrates through your bones, like someone strumming the strings of your skeleton. Out of the swirling mist ahead, the docks of the floating harbor materialize, vast platforms of cracked crystal, connected by glowing veins that pulse faintly with blue light. Ships of impossible design rest there, vessels shaped like feathers, shells, cubes that unfold into fractals, and one that seems to be made entirely of frozen lightning. They're anchored not by chains, but by humming rings that rotate slowly, as if tuning themselves to the frequency of the void. You dock carefully. The moment your ship touches the surface, a ripple spreads across the platform, liquid glass responding to your presence. You step out and feel the surface beneath your boots flex, almost alive. The air or whatever passes for it tastes metallic and faintly sweet, like licking the inside of a music box. Then you see him, the dockmaster. He stands, if stands is even the right word, at the end of the pier. Tall and slender, his body made entirely of fractured glass. Light refracts through him, scattering rainbow shards across the dock. Every movement makes a faint chimming sound, like wind through crystal trees. His face is a shifting mask of reflections, sometimes yours, sometimes the faces of others who might have been here before. Welcome, traveler, the dockmaster says, his voice a harmony of 1,000 soft tones. You've crossed the dark current without dissolving. That is rare. You manage a small laugh. Good to know my survival is considered a special event. He tilts his head, light breaking into ribbons across your chest. Do not mock the tides that carry you. The harbor floats not by luck, but by balance, and balance is easily offended. You nod, trying not to think too hard about how balance could take offense. So what brings ships here? You asked out. The dockmaster's shards shift, forming a smile that's both kind and unnerving. Memory, regret, curiosity. Mostly curiosity. It's the most dangerous fuel. You catch sight of movement behind him, figures drifting in and out of sight. Transparent sailors mending ghostly ropes. Children playing with orbs of floating water that never fall. Yet some shadows move differently, slower, heavier, as if weighed down by something unseen. Who are they? You whisper. Remnants. He replies simply. Those who stayed too long. The harbor keeps what it loves. That sentence lingers in your chest like a cold pebble. You try to joke, lightly. Let's hope it doesn't love me too much, for the first time. The dockmaster doesn't chime with laughter. He just tilts his crystalline face, and for an instant, all his reflections go dark. Every harbor keeps something, he murmurs. The question is, what will it take from you? You feel a tremor beneath your feet. The docks shudder, and the light veins beneath the glass flash red, then fade. The dockmaster looks down, frowning. The tides are restless. You must move quickly. Go to the market, speak with the one called Moth Eyes. She knows which current you've disturbed. He gestures, and a narrow bridge extends from the dock, curling into the mist. Follow the sound of forgotten laughter, he says, but do not answer if it calls your name. You take a cautious step forward, the bridge humming beneath you. As you glance back, the dockmaster's body refracts one last image, your own face, split into 7 reflections, each one looking in a different direction. Then the bridge begins to move on its own, carrying you away toward the market of forgotten echoes. The bridge glides you through a labyrinth of floating platforms, each connected by filaments that hum like harp strings. The air is thicker here, dense with whispers, giggles, sighs, and half-familiar tunes. You feel as though you're sailing through the memory of a carnival that once existed, but forgot how to end. The mist parts, revealing a grand circular plaza suspended in the void. Countless stalls float in slow rotation, their canopies made of shifting fabrics that shimmer between colors you can't even name. The scents are wild and impossible, ozone mixed with burnt sugar, alien fruit, and something that reminds you of summer rain on metal roofs. Welcome to the market of forgotten echoes. Each stall glows faintly from within, tended by merchants who look like dreams that never fully formed. One has moth wings for ears, another has a face made of clock gears that turn as he speaks. They trade not with money but with moments. You see a traveler offer a tiny glass sphere containing the laughter of their first love, and in return, they receive a jar labeled a memory you never lived but always missed. Your guide appears suddenly from the fog. Moth Eyes. She's small, wrapped in layers of fabric that seem to flutter even when the air stands still. Her enormous eyes gleam softly, shimmering with iridescent flecks, and when she blinks, the light around you dims, as if reality itself takes a pause to breathe. You came through the dockmaster's path, she says, voice echoing slightly behind itself. That means the current has taken an interest in you. I'd say the feeling's mutual, you answer, trying to sound brave. I've been dragged, flashed, and stared at by more glowing creatures in 1 hour than I have in my whole life. She chuckles, an airy, papery sound. You humor your fear. Good. It will make it taste less sharp when the harbor remembers you. You glance around, pretending not to understand. So what do I need to find here? Moth Eyes gestures toward the far end of the market, where a massive hourglass hovers horizontally, sand drifting upward instead of down. The harbor shifts according to what is traded here, she says. Every laugh, every tear, every forgotten name adds weight. You've already tilted it just by arriving. A merchant nearby waves at you, eager. Care to trade something you don't need? He calls. A dull ache, a boring Tuesday, perhaps a memory of losing your keys. You shake your head politely. The merchant pouts, then offers a bottle where a glowing beetle hums softly. A bottled apology, he says. It opens when someone truly forgives you. You're tempted, absurdly. But before you can reach for it, a cold breeze sweeps through the plaza. The music dies. Every merchant freezes. A voice not loud, but vast whispers through the mist. Who disturbs the balance? Moth Eyes stiffens. Her wings flare, scattering faint light. The harbor is listening. We must move. You follow her down a narrow walkway lined with hanging lanterns, each one flickering with faces caught mid-laughter. They twist toward you as you pass, murmuring things you can't quite hear. One lantern flickers out entirely, and you swear you feel a tiny hand tug your sleeve. Invisible but desperate, Moth Eyes leads you beneath the market, where the hum of commerce fades to a pulse, steady and deep, like the heartbeat of a giant sleeping beneath glass. The harbor dreams, she says softly, and in its dreams, it hides its heart. You're close to it now, good. You ask. She smiles faintly, all wings and sorrow. Good or bad doesn't matter, little traveler. The harbor only hungers for stories, and yours has just begun to glow. You descend through a spiral corridor of translucent stairs that seem carved from moonlight itself. Each step hums faintly when you touch it, as though it recognizes you. The air thickens. The smell of ozone fades into something damp and metallic, like the inside of a clock after rain. Moth Eyes glides beside you, her wings brushing against the glowing walls. At the bottom waits a circular chamber, vast and trembling with energy. The floor is made of interlocking gears, each turning at a different rhythm. In the center stands the impossible machine, a clock the size of a cathedral, its face alive with swirling constellations instead of numbers. It exhales a soft mist that curls upward like smoke from a sleeping dragon, the clock that breathes, whispers moth eyes, the heart of the floating harbor. The mechanism groans and shifts, expelling a puff of shimmering vapor that smells faintly of old libraries and thunderstorms. You feel the air pulse with every exhale, and somewhere in your bones, you sense that time itself is bending here, looping back and forth like a ribbon caught in the wind. A narrow staircase spirals up the clock's spine. Without asking permission, you start climbing. Because who could resist climbing a breathing clock? That's like saying no to free dessert. Each step takes you through a shimmer of light that makes your skin tingle and your thoughts blur. Halfway up, you pause. The mist below begins to move strangely slower, heavier, deliberate. From it, a figure forms, tall, thin, and shifting between seconds like a ghost caught in a flickering film reel. Its eyes are golden gears turning backward. Moth Eyes lowers her gaze. That's the keeper of minutes, she murmurs. He tends the breaths of the clock, ensuring they flow in the right direction. Don't look too long or your own heartbeat may sink to the wrong century. Too late. You've already met the keeper's gaze. Time hiccups. For an instant, you're standing on the dock again, then in your childhood bedroom, then back in the chamber. The seconds around you stutter like a skipping record. The keeper drifts closer. Traveler, he says, his voice layered with echoes of himself. Your rival has uncounted seconds trembling. What will you pay to remain in your proper now? You reach instinctively for your pockets. Though you doubt interdimensional customs accept credit cards. I don't know. What does time even cost? The keeper smiles faintly. A memory is currency enough. Before you can protest, he touches your forehead with a finger made of turning cogs. A warmth floods your mind, and then emptiness. Something vanishes. You can't recall what, but the absence feels like a missing tooth in your soul. Payment accepted. The keeper whispers, fading back into mist. Moth Eyes looks uneasy. You shouldn't have done that. The clock doesn't give back what it takes. The gears beneath your feet lurch, spinning faster. The entire harbor seems to tilt. You grab a railing as the constellations on the clock's face rearrange themselves. Somewhere above, a chime rings out, a deep, sorrowful tone that vibrates through everything. Moth Eyes steadies herself and turns toward you. We must go. The feast begins soon, and every guest who hears that bell is expected to attend. You blink. Feast like dinner, she smiles thinly. If you can call it that. The clock exhales one last breath, a shimmering sigh, and the stairs shift beneath you, transforming into a bridge of starlight leading upward. Come, says Moth Eyes. The silent sailors are waiting. You follow. But the faint emptiness inside your head lingers, a hollow echo where a memory used to be. The bridge of starlight carries you upward, weaving between fragments of ships suspended midair, their sails glowing faintly like captured dawn. The higher you go, the dimmer the stars become, until you realize it isn't the stars fading, but the harbor itself dimming the universe round it. A silence settles, thick and alive. Even your footsteps refuse to echo. You arrive at an open platform shaped like a crescent moon. Long tables float in concentric circles, set with bowls of luminous liquid and plates of food that drift slightly above the surface, as if gravity here is too polite to commit. Around them sit the guests, dozens of sailors, travelers, and other beings whose faces are either masked or entirely made of light. No one speaks. The only sound is the faint hum of the dishes themselves vibrating with starlight. Moth Eyes leans close and whispers, "Welcome to the feast of silent sailors. You may eat, but do not speak until the last bell tolls." The harbor listens during meals. You nod, nervously. A chair glides toward you on its own, stopping neatly at the edge of the nearest table. You sit, because refusing a haunted dinner invitation seems rude. A dish floats to you, a crystal bowl filled with swirling blue soup. Inside it, constellations drift lazily, like fish in an aquarium. You dip your spoon, and the stars scatter. The first taste sends sparks across your tongue, sweet, then bitter, then electric. It feels like tasting a dream that never finished. across from you. A sailor made of fog lifts his glass in a silent toast. You mimic him. The liquid inside your glass ripples with tiny galaxies. You drink, and the flavor changes every heartbeat. Mint, salt, thunder. You almost laugh, but catch yourself, remembering the rule. A faint shiver passes through the crowd. One by one, the diners turn their heads toward the platform's edge. A shadow moves there, just beyond the glow of the floating candles. It's taller than any being you've seen so far, slender, cloaked in darkness, wearing a mask that reflects the entire void. The dockmaster's voice rings faintly in your memory. Do not wake what sleeps. The shadow lifts a hand, and a bell chimes not from above, but from inside your chest. Every guest freezes. The sound fades, replaced by a voice that isn't a voice at all, more like thought turned into sound. The tides turn. The current hungers. Balance must be fed. You glance at Moth Eyes, but she bows her head. Her wings flicker nervously. Eat, she mouths silently. Keep eating, you obey, spoon trembling. The soup stars rearrange into an image your face, but older, eyes hollow. Then the stars scatter again, dissolving into silver mist. The figure glides closer, the air bending around it. For a moment, you swear you see its mask ripple, and behind it, countless smaller faces blink, faces of the guests themselves. You grip the edge of the table, resisting the urge to bolt. Then, from your left, a whisper barely audible, yet sharp enough to slice through the silence. Don't look at it too long, says a nearby sailor, his voice shaking. That's how they take your reflection. He shouldn't have spoken. The candles flicker violently. The shadow turns toward him. In the next heartbeat, the sailor's chair is empty, his glass still quivering. Only a faint shimmer remains in the air where he sat. You stare in horror. But Moth Eyes places a hand on your arm, her voice a breath against your ear. Do not pity him, she says. He will return eventually as a story someone else remembers. The bell tolls again. The feast is over. All around, the guests rise silently and drift away, leaving you with your half-finished soup, a trembling spoon, and the growing certainty that the harbor has begun to notice you more than it should. When the last of the silent sailors dissolves into mist, the tables vanish too, fading like chalk lines washed by rain. You and Moth Eyes remain on the crescent platform, the starlight around you flickering uncertainly. Then the entire harbor trembles, a slow, deep vibration that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Moth Eyes lifts her gaze toward the horizon, and for the first time, you see fear in her enormous, glimmering eyes. The tides are reversing, she whispers. The storm that devours light is near. You turn. Beyond the edge of the harbor, the void churns. The stars there begin to vanish, not dimming, not blinking, but being eaten. The darkness thickens, twisting like ink in water. Flashes of pale lightning snake through it, illuminating colossal tendrils made entirely of shadow. The harbor's glowing veins pulse faster, as if in panic. Okay, you say carefully, so we're not doing the calm, scenic exit today. Moth Eyes doesn't answer. She spreads her wings, scattering motes of light. Come, she says. If the harbor cannot anchor itself, it will drift into the storm's heart and everything upon it will unravel. You follow her across trembling walkways, past ghostly figures rushing soundlessly. Even the dockmaster appears briefly on a nearby bridge, his crystalline body fractured. His voice warped into overlapping echoes. Contain the breach. Anchor the breath lines. Then he shatters into shards of light that reform elsewhere. You hurry on. The harbor moans like a wounded creature. Segments of its structure twist, stretching into the void as if caught by invisible hooks. Whole decks tilt, sending fragments of ships tumbling into nothingness. One of them spins past you, a galleon made of bone and silk, its empty sails burning like paper. The air itself begins to disobey. The horizon folds inward. Up becomes sideways. You grab a railing that feels alive, pulsing beneath your hand like a heartbeat. Moth Eyes struggles to keep her wings steady. The lanternfish pilots will try to guide the outer rings, she says, pointing upward where faint lights still flicker. If they fail, the storm will eat the light itself and will never find the way out. You glance toward the horizon again, and your stomach knots. The darkness there is growing teeth. Enormous, translucent jaws made of void close around whole sections of the harbor. You hear not sound, exactly, but the memory of screams echoing across every surface. A surge of wind knocks you to your knees. Moth Eyes grabs your wrist and pulls you behind a collapsing pillar. Hold on, she shouts over the humming chaos. It's searching for heat, for thought, for light. You freeze, holding your breath. Around you, the very mist begins to twist into spirals, tugging at every spark of luminescence. Lanterns pop like bubbles. The storm feeds on illumination dot in the sudden dark. Your eyes adjust just enough to catch motion. A massive creature swimming through the storm. Its body is endless like a serpent made of night, with eyes glowing faintly red, the last color before total absence. It circles the harbor once, and wherever it passes, light dies. Moth Eyes leans close. That is the devourer. It comes when a story burns too brightly. You manage a faint laugh, mostly to stay sane. Guess I've been a little too interesting, huh? She actually smiles, but only for a second. If we survive this, you may learn to be boring again. The dockmaster's voice echoes faintly through the chaos. The child of shadows find her. Before the tide collapses, Moth Eyes' wings flare wide, sending a burst of pale light upward. She's awake, she says urgently. The only one who can command the harbor now. And as the storm roars louder so, loud it drowns thought you see. At the heart of the collapsing harbor, a small figure rising from the mist, haloed in black fire, the child who commands shadows. The child stands barefoot at the very center of the harbor, where the decks split and curl like petals in a cosmic storm. Her body glows faintly not with light, but with the memory of light. Around her, the shadows bend and breathe as if awaiting instruction. You and Moth Eyes stumble toward her, shielding your faces from the roaring winds that tear through the air like invisible claws. She looks impossibly young. No older than 10 if age means anything out here. Her hair flows like liquid night, her eyes to slow-turning eclipses. She lifts a hand, and the storm shudders. For a moment, everything stops sound, motion, even thought. When she speaks, it isn't to you or Moth Eyes or anyone. It's to the harbor itself. Anchor. The word ripples through the structure. The glowing veins beneath the glass flare back to life, red, then gold, then white. Fragments of broken docks fuse together. Ships trapped in the pull of the devourer suddenly freeze in place, held by invisible threads. The storm growls like a living beast denied its prey. Moth Eyes drops to one knee. Child of shadows, she whispers reverently. The harbor obeys you. The girl turns, studying you with those slow eclipses for eyes. Her voice is small, but carries weight. You are not of the harbor. You brought imbalance. You swallow hard. That sounds about right. Yeah, she tilts her head. And yet, the harbor listens to you, too. It dreams through your heartbeat. I'm flattered. You manage weakly. Does that mean I get a discount on interdimensional parking? To your immense relief, her lips twitch almost a smile. You speak to keep the fear quiet, she says. That is wise. Fear is the only thing the void truly eats. The shadows behind her writhe, forming vague shape swings, tendrils, maybe even faces. They whisper to her in languages made of silence. The devourer is old, she continues softly. Older than stars. It feeds on the harbor's anchor, the clock's breath. If we cannot steer away, it will consume even time itself. Moth Eyes rises. Then we must move the harbor. The child nods, but her brow furrows. To steer it, one must become part of it. The last navigator was lost to the dark current. You take a step forward. Before your brain can veto the idea, then I'll do it. Both of them stare at you. The child's shadows pause, whispering sharply. You do not belong here, she says. The harbor may not let you go if you take its helm. You shrug. Though your heart hammers so loudly it might count as percussion. I'm already missing a memory or two. Might as well earn the souvenir. She studies you for a long, silent moment, then nods. Very well. The navigator's seat is bound to the clock's core. You must find the broken compass. It will answer only to one who remembers what they have forgotten. You frown. That sounds paradoxical. Moth Eyes sighs. Everything in this place is paradoxical. It's part of the charm. The child lifts her hand again. Shadows gather round you, cool and weightless, wrapping like ribbons. The compass lies in the breath of the clock. But beware, the keeper protects what remains. Before you can ask what that means, the ground splits open beneath you. The world inverts light, becomes darkness. Up becomes down and you fall through the harbor's core, plunging back toward the great breathing machine you left behind. As you fall, the child's voice follows, fading but firm. Remember this, only those who let go of their reflection can steer the void. You don't know what that means, but you know one thing for sure: this is way above your interstellar pay grade. Still, you brace yourself, whispering, "All right, floating harbor, let's finish what we started." You fall for what feels like hours, through tunnels of rippling light and fractured time. Echoes of yourself tumble beside you, dozens of half-formed versions mouthing words you don't remember saying. Then, with a breath-snatching thud, you land on something solid. The world steadies, and you find yourself standing once again before the heart of the clock. It no longer ticks gently. It screams. The enormous gears grind against each other in disarray, spilling sparks into the air like dying stars. The radiant sphere at its core pulses erratically, each flash slicing shadows across the floor. The compass must be here, but where? Moth Eyes descends beside you, gliding on wings of translucent membrane. "We've entered the breath," she whispers. "This is where time exhales." "That's not ominous at all," you mutter. She grins, the flicker of humor cutting through the gloom. "If you lose your courage, just remember you were brave enough to make it this far." You nod, scanning the scene. Something gleams near the base of the clock, a small, intricate device shaped like an 8-pointed star. The compass. It hovers above a pedestal of pulsating crystal, revolving slowly as though deciding which way existence should tilt next. You reach toward it, but a sudden blast of icy wind shoves you back. From the swirling mist that follows, a towering figure emerges, a silhouette woven from shifting cogs and ticking metronomes. The keeper. Moth Eyes breathes, its voice grinds like grinding stone. None may claim the compass who still clings to their past reflection. You squint. "Yeah, I keep hearing that. Is there a translation mode?" It leans forward, face a mask of mirrored glass. In it, you see not your own reflection, but fragments of your life, your old room on Earth, the laughter of friends, the sight of your home planet spinning blue and small beneath the stars. They are echoes. The keeper intones, weights that hold you in the flow. To steer the harbor, you must let them sink. You hesitate. Let go of who you are. Moth Eyes places a clawed hand on your shoulder. "You came here because something in you was already adrift, didn't you?" You exhale shakily. "Yeah, maybe I did." You step forward again. The compass hums as you near it, and the keeper raises one massive hand, testing your resolve. Every part of you trembles, but you lift your arms anyway. The mirrored reflections swirl around you, memories, laughter, mistakes, every version of yourself you've ever been. You whisper to them, "Thank you, but I have to go." The reflections shatter soundlessly, scattering into threads of starlight that twist up and vanish. The keeper's body stills. Then you are free. The compass floats into your palm, weightless and warm. The moment your fingers close around it, the clock's rhythm steadies. Gears click into place, time exhales once more, and for a heartbeat, all of creation seems to realign. Moth Eyes lets out a delighted laugh. You've done it. But before you can celebrate, the harbor trembles. Outside, the devourer roars, its gravity surging against the harbor's newfound rhythm. The compass glows fiercely, its points spinning faster and faster until one locks firmly toward the void. Moth Eyes stares in horror. It's not guiding us away, it's guiding it closer. The keeper lifts its head, its mirrored face fracturing. Balance demands completion. The harbor must face what it fled. You tighten your grip, heart hammering. "Then I'll steer it through." The compass pulses, wrapping your arm in spirals of golden light that pierce through the chamber. The heart of the clock opens, revealing an endless corridor of starlight, an entryway into the control of the harbor itself. Moth Eyes nods solemnly. "Once you take the helm, there's no returning to who you were." You smirk faintly. "Good thing I already let that person go." And with that, you step forward into the corridor of light, the compass blazing in your hand. As the roar of the devourer rises behind you, the corridor of starlight wraps around you like a cocoon, spiraling endlessly toward the harbor's core. Every step hums beneath your feet, and the compass vibrates in your hand, pointing not north or south, but toward the void itself. You realize, with a thrill and a tremor, that you are no longer just a visitor, you are the harbor's heartbeat now. The devourer waits beyond the edge, a black leviathan, a void serpent with teeth of darkness. Its form twists and stretches, eyes flickering like dying suns. Hunger radiating in waves you can feel through your chest. You raise the compass, and light pours from it, a golden flood that cuts across the black. The devourer roars, thrashing tendrils of shadow, but the harbor bends behind you, shifting, tilting, bracing against the storm. You breathe, steadying your hands. The compass guides your will. You tilt the harbor gently, coaxing the floating platforms, the fragmented ships, the suspended lanterns, into alignment. Moth Eyes glides beside you, trailing motes of soft light. You're doing it, she whispers, voice shaking with awe. The harbor listens. It's terrifying. You can feel the storm pressing in, sea stars vanishing into the devourer's maw. Yet every motion you make is mirrored by the pulse of the harbor, the great clock. The luminous veins beneath the docks, the shifting currents of memory itself. You guide it slowly, carefully, weaving between the teeth of darkness. A part of you fears failure. Another part thrills in the impossible. The devourer lashes, striking at the golden light of the compass. But each strike is met with a shimmer, the harbor bending in obedience, as though acknowledging you not as intruder but as guardian. Then, a stillness. The devourer pause is at the edge of the void, studying you, waiting. The harbor quivers but holds. The compass glows steady, warm and pulsing, as if approving. The leviathan roars once more, then retreats into the darkness, melting into nothing. Stars return, dripping slowly back into the void. Light blooms over the docks, over the shattered glass, over floating ships. You exhale, trembling, your heart matching the slow, deep pulse of the harbor. Moth Eyes flutters beside you, smiling. You did it, she murmurs. The harbor is safe. For now, the child of shadows appears, small and silent, standing atop a crystalline pillar. She nods once, and the shadows surrounding her relax. Balance is restored, she says softly. You may step back now, traveler. The harbor remembers your courage. You look out over the expanse, the platforms, the markets, the luminous veins stretching into the void. Everything is intact, yet you know the harbor has changed. You have changed. Slowly, you lower the compass. Its golden light fades into your hand, leaving warmth behind. The pulse of the harbor slows, settling into a calm rhythm. The devourer is gone, the tide's stilled, and the floating harbor floats peacefully once more in the endless dark. You take a deep breath and let yourself finally smile. The journey, the fear, the thrill, it has all led here. The harbor hums around you, a gentle lullaby of glass, light, and the soft whispers of a million stories. The harbor drifts now in gentle silence. You feel the weight of everything you have seen ease from your chest, replaced with a soothing calm. The stars twinkle softly above, steady and familiar, while the mist curls slowly round your feet, brushing against your hands like a warm, quiet hug. You walk across the decks, noting each small light and reflection, letting yourself simply observe without worry or haste. Moth Eyes glides beside you, her wings folding slowly. She doesn't speak. The child of shadows stands at a distance, her eclipsed eyes soft, patient. Even the clock that breathes exhales in long, languid puffs, and the gears hum in a gentle rhythm. Like a lullaby, the floating harbor itself seems to breathe beneath you, rocking slightly in the void as if to whisper, all is well. You find a quiet corner of a platform and sit. The soft glow of suspended lanterns bathes you in warmth. Each flicker reminds you of the moments you've saved, the balance you helped restore, and the strange, wondrous creatures who call this place home. The void outside is deep and dark, but here it feels safe, protective, like a blanket woven from stars. Take a deep breath. Feel the calm spread from your chest to your fingertips. Allow your mind to drift lightly with the harbor, to rest in its steady, luminous pulse. The adventure has paused, and for now, you are simply a traveler in a beautiful, endless dream. Let the soft hum of the floating harbor fade into your awareness. Let your heartbeat match its rhythm. You are safe. You are steady. You are exactly where you are meant to be.